Well, here we go again, as this series has been seemingly just as enjoyable for you, as a viewer, as it has been for me putting it together. Putting a whole new spin on sibling rivalry with a hockey twist just screams brotherly love at its finest. In this video, in case this is your first time sitting in, while we pit brother against brother, we're going to go over things like stats, accomplishments, and overall skills that each NHL player brings to the playing surface. Some may not currently play in the league, but have at least dressed for a game at some point in time. And with that, here are another 5 sets of brothers compared. It may not be too surprising that having previous Olympic stars as parents might increase your chances of being athletic. And for Dougie and Freddie Hamilton, the brothers at an early age began to put their genes to good use on ice, and spent a few seasons as teammates while playing for the Niagara Ice Dogs of the OHL. The duo even represented Team Canada side by side during the 2012 World Juniors. Even though Freddie was drafted first, it's been his younger brother who has had the more lengthy career comparatively, as Freddie has already hung up the skates professionally. Therefore, while comparing the two, considering the fact that Dougie, after playing at hockey's most elite level, has thrived while doing so, is only a testament to his value as a player, as Hamilton flourished from the start with the Bruins, while playing a shortened rookie season, due to the lockout prolonging his debut. But it wasn't until his 3rd season with Boston when the defenseman began to offensively set himself apart, as he finished with 42 points in 72 games played, following the 2014-15 season. At 6'6", number 19 uses his size to his advantage, while capitalizing on his long reach. His excellent skating ability and set of hands make the younger Hamilton an offensive asset to have on the blue line. As a forward, Freddie, who is comparatively shorter at 6'1", was able to use his quick shot to snipe several past netminders in his career. Before turning pro, the older Hamilton has had 2 80-point-plus seasons back-to-back for the Ice Dogs. But once he was drafted, Freddie struggled to remain on any pro roster, and found himself on 4 different NHL teams and playing for their AHL affiliates simultaneously. And after 4 points in 75 games played in the league, Freddie moved on from hockey professionally, after playing his last game with Arizona. As Dougie is a defenseman and Freddie a forward, I think this one is definitely pretty one-sided, as the younger of the two was able to consistently outscore his older brother, and has become one of the best players to represent Carolina and Raleigh, as he made his first All-Star appearance earlier this year. So obviously, for some reason, Sweden has a thing about producing twins with talent in the hockey world, as the Sedins aren't the only identical duo to be known around Scandinavia, as Joel and Henrik Lundqvist are talented in their own right. At 16, the twins left home in pursuit of their dreams, and both represented Frölunda prior to their draft day. Henrik was NHL ready from day one, but Joel, on the other hand, spent part of his rookie season playing for the Stars affiliate at the time, the Iowa Stars. Both brothers have represented Sweden on multiple occasions and have gold medals to prove it, as they had the privilege that most dream of winning gold simultaneously in 2017 at Worlds. NHL-wise though, Henrik seems to have the upper hand, as Hank, for several seasons, was the franchise player for the Rangers, and has had a remarkable career as their netminder thus far. After his stellar performance during the 2011-2012 season, with a goals against average of 1.97 and a save percentage of .930, the King received the Vezina Trophy close to 2 years before he would lead his team to the Stanley Cup Finals, the first the franchise had seen in 2 decades. And even more impressively, Lundqvist became the fastest goalie in league history to reach 400 wins in 2017. Joel, on the other hand, after playing a few seasons with Dallas and recording 26 points in 134 games played, resumed play in Sweden for Frölunda. Joel, since making the move, has played around a decade with the team, while routinely being one of its best players. Since he's been captain, the Indians have won the championship on 3 occasions, with Lundqvist receiving MVP honors in 2017. His best season on record was during the 2015-16 campaign, where he put up 38 goals in 45 games played. Even though both twins are very skilled players, I'm going to have to give this one to Hank, as he's definitely been one of, if not the best netminder of his generation, and has proven that even if you're a 7th round pick, you can still make an impact on ice regardless. Both products of Beantown, the Hayes brothers became household names in Boston while playing for Boston College, and even played side by side during Kevin's freshman year. Jimmy, who is currently a free agent, spent his career of 334 games played in the NHL with 4 different teams. But for a kid that grew up in Boston, the Bruins had to be his favorite. But before he represented the B, the older Hayes would have his best season on record after moving down south to the Sunshine State, while finishing with 35 points in 72 games played. And Jimmy, before playing his last documented season for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, finished with 109 points in his NHL career thus far. The younger Hayes spent his debut season in the city that never sleeps, as Kevin finished his rookie season with 45 points in 79 games played. Throughout his career thus far, number 13 has been able to put up consistent numbers while utilizing his speed on the rush and quick hands. Even though the majority of his goals are scored on breakaways, Hayes isn't afraid to battle in the corners when need be. The older Hayes, even though he's seemingly not as quick of a skater, is very good at seeing the smallest opening and capitalizing on it. And while he may not have been putting up as many points during his NHL days as his brother, he was definitely recording more penalty minutes, with 7 fights on record. Even still, I think it's pretty apparent who the better player is in Kevin, as he's not only been more productive points-wise, but also at keeping a case to stay at the professional level. Even though he says he needs to retire.
I suck. I suck. I might retire.
The Stones. Okay, I just couldn't help myself there. Anyways, both Michael and Mark worked their way to the NHL after proving themselves in the Western Hockey League. Michael through the Calgary Hitmen, and Mark, the Brandon Wheat Kings. And the Stones, also post-draft, spent time improving their game in the AHL. The younger Stone only needed a season to prove his worth to the Senators, while Michael has been alternating back and forth for much of his career. Over the years, Mark has cemented his reputation as being one of the league's best when it comes to his two-way game, as the forward, at over 200 pounds, embodies a power forward type frame, in which he's not afraid to use when it comes to a punch-in-the-face contest. Besides the physicality he brings to the playing surface, Stone is a premier passer with a quick shot. And since joining the Vegas Golden Knights, his game has flourished offensively, as he was on pace to have his best career-wise before the pause with 63 points in 65 games played. The older of the two, as a defenseman, has displayed his own offensive prowess and had his career best statistically with Arizona after finishing with 36 points in 75 games played. Breaking it down further though, the brothers definitely both have nothing to hang their heads about, career-wise thus far. Even still, I'm going to have to give this one to Mark, as Michael has struggled to prove his case NHL-wise, as he spent a significant portion of his career playing for NHL affiliate teams. And even though he has a killer slap shot, and is definitely valuable, I'm sure, in his own right, he hasn't been able to, at least thus far, reach the level that his younger brother has. And yet another forward D-man combination here, as the Van Riemsdykes over the years have become household names in their own right throughout the hockey world. But before their NHL debuts, the Van Riemsdykes spent their college days playing for the University of New Hampshire. And it was around this time that James represented the US and was able to take home a bronze medal following the 2007 World Juniors, and received MVP honors. Trevor was able to impressively work his way to the big leagues undrafted, and spent a few seasons with the Blackhawks before moving on with Carolina, where he had his best season thus far, with 16 points in 79 games played for the Canes. His brother, on the other hand, has capitalized on his larger frame while using it net front to tickle the twine. Even though he seems to favor netting quick wristers near the crease, the forward can set up plays when need be as well. His best season yet was spent with Toronto, as he notched 62 points in 82 games played, with an impressive 29 of them being goals. He's also proven to be a clutch player in the postseason as he recorded 7 tucks in 11 games played with the Flyers during his first stint with Philadelphia. And with that being said, I think I'm going to have to go with the older sibling on this occasion, in James, as he's been able to remain consistent offensively regardless of where he's played and who he's played with. But there's one thing his little brother definitely has that James has yet to capture: a Stanley Cup ring.